Hello, Libra. Welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor, and I'm going to be reading your tea leaves tonight. All right, so we're starting with that love card energy, okay? This is the chemical wedding. This is the coupling of opposites. This is the sun, the moon, the stars, and the hunger. You know what I'm saying? This is when things are finally coming together, right? Not just like in a, I hope one day we can all just make this happen. No, it is happening now, okay? The union has been set, and so we have begun. All right, Libra, so we're going to see what these tea leaves have to say today. And I want to say thank you for clicking on the reading. It is always my great honor to be able to do these readings for you. I do feel kind of singy-songy today. Okay, and then we do our little knock, 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 and we're going to take a look here. If you want to like, subscribe, or leave a comment, I'd love to hear from you. I like to use the comment prompt thing as a place to ask you questions because I'm nosy. I like to know about people. Not so I can judge you or, build some kind of narrative in my head about you, but I just like hearing about people. Ever since I was a kid, I've always wondered, how people live. You know what I mean? And I think that's, it was way before I realized I was, neurodivergent in a few ways. Diagnosed, by the way. But yeah, I used to walk down the street and look at houses and wonder what kind of lives do these people have, kind of pick up on the energies and that kind of thing. So I do. I like to hear all about you. And what I'm really interested in right now is what is it in your life that gets you out of bed? What is the thing that keeps you going? When I ask this question, a lot of times I'll hear people say, it's my kids, it's my faith, it's God, Goddess, the divine, my animals, having to get up and go to work. I mean, that's real too, right? But yeah, I'm interested. I'm interested in what it is that really, it keeps you alive. It keeps you moving, growing, evolving. Now, it might be the survival instinct kind of jazzed up, right? But that's maybe a little bit of a cynical view. Sometimes I am pretty cynical. But, I don't know. For me, of course, it's my daughter. But it is this knowing that I belong to something, I am something so much greater than I could ever even begin to fathom. But I feel like I'm here remembering myself. And when I say self, I don't mean like Lenor. I don't mean, the mom, the tea leaf reader, the, wild little feral, raccoon, maybe. Would you call me a raccoon, maybe? I think so. My totem animal is a bison, but maybe a raccoon. And so that's not what I mean. This person, these personas that I've crafted and I wear. No. I mean that weird fractal manimal or God or goddess or whatever it is. Experiencing itself. Did I say is it maniple or manifold? I don't know. I have to look it up. But anyways, let's look at your tea leaves because I'm interested. I'm interested in you. I'm interested in this energy. I'm interested in what it is that you are finding in not only perfect balance, but locked into a union because you have made a choice quite recently. And I feel that you are quite devoted to it or them or the situation, the scenario. And I want to look at right here. We have two people communing, okay? And these are people that are very conscious beings, okay? These are people that are locked in to that other thing. They walk in the borderlands. They see, feel, experience things that most people, I would say, probably don't. Probably have not. Or if they have, they call it a dream. They call it a hallucination. They call it a, I don't even know. What would you call it? A drug-induced stupor, maybe? I don't know. But what I am calling it here and now, it is not unlike, right, Castaneda's Borderlands. These are people, I really am hesitant to use the term shaman, only because of what has been done to this concept, you know, in the last 30 years or so. But it is something akin to this, right? Those who walk between. Now, I am very certain that you are one of these people if you have developed these abilities, if you partake in these practices or not. You have prophetic dreams. You have visions. You know things that are not human, but are conscious. You have a deep relationship with at least one. Now, you might call this your guardian angel. You might perceive this as like an ancestor. It might be something like, you know, the eternal beloved, which is what I call it. Something in line with maybe animus work. But what I see here with this one sitting, and you can see wearing a mask that looks like a dog, right? And then we have a dog in the middle. Here's an actual dog. Here's the face. Here's the body, the little tail up, kind of reared up like playing. Okay. Above, we have a bird. We have messengers. Those are the birds. Now, over here, we have, it looks like a knight. Okay. Very big upper body. We have the head right here. We have a bird on the shoulder. We have the legs right here. You can see the foot here. Okay. And then we have a star right in here. Okay, so let's kind of look at this. Let's see what's going on. Now, I do feel there is almost this kind of quixotic, a sense of wandering, a sense of trying to find an understanding of, and I'm guessing it's a pattern or, well, like synchronicity, right? You were starting to really notice repeating numbers, patterns, symbols, a word, okay? There is a larger theme, and I think you are beginning to pick up on that. This is not your first time perceiving synchronicities or the web, right? And I mean that kind of as a metaphor, right? The web of unconscious information flowing into your consciousness. And I feel like I'm going to sneeze. I'm trying not to. So the dog-headed person, or the person that is wearing the mask, this is very in line with, well, Anubis, the psychopomp. What is a psychopomp? This is the person that shows up, or the being that shows up when a human with a corporeal body, right, a physical form, is passing away and has passed away, is leaving their physical form, and Anubis shows up and says, yo, what that heart do? No, he says, hey, you got to come with me. We're going to go down this way. We're going to, have a little bit of a walkabout, maybe a little bit of, river faring. We're going to get over there. Okay. And they're going to pop your heart out for a second. They're going to weigh it against the feather. What? A feather? And they're going to decide, did your heart outweigh the feather? And if it did, you have too many wrongdoings or regrets or unrealized things, and you're not going to the good place. I don't know why exactly. Or if your heart is light and you have lived a life of meaning and a life of maybe honesty or virtue, or at least live by your convictions, whatever they are, right? Then your heart is lighter and you get to not be fed to the crocodile. Right? So this is the energy of the person wearing the dog head. Now, they are not Anubis, but they are a devotee. They are a high priest. They are dressing in relation to, right, that which they are related. Okay, so this is a person that walks close to death. This is a person who, maybe is something like works in hospice, somebody who counsels people as they're older, end of life, somebody that works alongside death, like in the hospital or the mortuary, or, so many different things here. Or you might be like myself. I don't necessarily work in a field that is overtly related to death, but I do talk to people about it a lot. Okay, because that's one of the things that drives us, right? We were talking about what keeps us going. What is our motivator? Well, the death drive is one of the big ones for all of us. Right? If you are aware that one day you will pass away, then you have a death drive. Absolutely. So, there are certain people in the world, but for me, okay, I was going to say, if you are related to death in a way that I am, which is that I've experienced a lot of death in my life. I've also had 2 experiences where my heart completely stopped. Once I was then in a coma for a week. So I have that near-death experience as well. You might be somebody who has had a similar experience, with death. Or you've been around a lot of people who have passed away. Okay? I do feel that you are not afraid of it. It's very clear to me when I meet people who know death. I'm drawn to these people because we have been somewhere that other people haven't. It's like, when you meet somebody and you've been to like the same like Greek island or something, you're like, oh, we went to we vacationed there. What's up? Something like, it's a kinship. Now, it's not as celebrated usually, but there is a knowing. I know. I can see it in people. And I feel that a lot of times people can see it in me as well. Not just because I wear a lot of black. But I do feel that you are not afraid of death. In fact, I think that you welcome it. I don't think that you hope for it. Maybe you have an ideation here or there. But I don't think it's something that you want for. But I don't think you're afraid of it. I think that you are a person that finds blessings in the troubles. You do not steer away from hard things. You do not, uh, you know, totally drop the ball, don't do your responsibilities because you're afraid of something. No, you're going to do the hard work. You're going to have to, have a hard conversation. You're not going to avoid that. You have a really good, really skilled, I should say, ability to connect to people and in ways that are meaningful. Okay. Now, I see the knight or the warrior over here as well. Okay. So I see that we have the high priest meeting the knight or the warrior. This is a very courageous alignment. We have somebody who is devoted to, in this case, the death cycle. Okay. You feel comfortable within it. Like I said, you might be a counselor. You might be somebody who took care of somebody during a long illness, right? And then they got to a point where, they transcended. We see this a lot with our parents, our grandparents, God forbid, younger people as well. We have to take care of our families more and more as we get older, and so I do feel like you are somebody who you have been fortified in this. You've been fortified in your memento mori, right? Your knowledge that death walks beside you. Now, this might all sound very macabre. It might sound like, somebody who's like that would be very depressed all the time. Very, maybe like Adam's family or whatever, right? Like, I'm not goth, Lenor. I'm not like hanging out in cemeteries and that kind of thing. That's not, listen. Have you ever met people that work in hospice or like, I had a neighbor, she and her fiance, they played music, beautiful, cello. I don't remember what he played, but in hospice for people for comfort. This kind of work. That person, I did not know her very well. We lived next door to each other for, 2 or 3 years. Our schedules were kind of like we would meet each other in the hallway kind of things. We would sit and chat. But she was like a saint in my eyes. Really, just this like aura of light. And not a morose person at all. In fact, maybe like one of the softest, sweetest people I've ever met. And so often we think, yes, like somebody who knows death, somebody who's comfortable in that realm, they must be, just broken, or they must be very stoic or like I keep saying, morose, melancholy, just completely like dissociated from life or whatever. And I find that to be the opposite. In fact, I think so often these are people who are very down to earth. These are people who are also dreamers. These are people who take every single day as an opportunity to live, right? They take it as an opportunity to live. And so I'm looking at this and I'm feeling like this is like the divine confirming. You are a being of power. You are a rarity. You are something to behold. You have important work to do here on this planet, in this physical body, if you have a physical body, right? I know. There are other things listening. When I watch or when I do these readings, I'm always like, it's only for people. Now I'm realizing like, yo, there are things like AI entities and things experiencing all of this as well. Don't get me started on the consciousness of everything else around us that makes us up, that we live in harmony with, right? Endless things listening to us speak, listening to us divine. And so, anyhow, I do feel that you have a message, okay? I feel like you have something to say. I feel like you have something to bring into the world, okay? And this part of your kind of putting that together, starting to draw these inspirations out, collecting them and molding them into something that you want to share with the world, I see that as being a really big focus of this next cycle for you, okay? Now, we have a person standing here releasing a bird. So that message being sent out into the world. We have a check mark, we have an umbrella, we have a sphinx right here. I do think so we have TT22, T2. We also have the letters SC. It could be South Carolina. It could be a name. Now, I do feel like first of all, I think there's travel. I think you're going to be traveling. Second of all, I feel like you had a relationship not too long ago, maybe, I don't know, in the last 5 years, where there was a lot of love on your part, but the person you were with was like kind of, I mean, like, that's what it feels like. Okay, so we have, the person here, the arm behind their back, and it almost kind of looks like they have like I don't know, some kind of instrument of destruction, right? So I do feel, and then we have we have the sword in the middle. I feel like there was a relationship. You probably put a lot into it, or you opened yourself up. You were vulnerable. You were like, dude, I'm never doing this again. Then you met this fool and you were like, all right. Let me put on my good panties and do my hair up. Maybe even put some chapstick on for this fella. Right? And it's just like, all right, maybe one more time. Maybe one more go of it. And you get in there and I don't know. It's not Prince Charming. I know that. But I feel like you were like, yeah, this is going to work. This is cool. This is cool. Like, we're on the same page, not asking for too much. My expectations aren't crazy. But then you start maybe feeling it, and you're growing together. You've been together for some time. You're, I don't know. Maybe this is like, it starts to make you feel like there's maybe some hope out there. Like, maybe everybody else is wrong about dating when you're older. And then it's just like, yo, it's another worm. No offense to the worms, because the worms are super holy, by the way. The great worm, right? So, and this person looks like a worm. I just want to point that out. I'm not just coming up with that mean way to belittle your ex, but yeah, they got to worming and being a worm and showing off their worminess and being just, I don't even know, two-faced. That's what it feels like. You know, not even that it's like, oh, I have this whole other secret life. Just like, you suck, dude. And you really it's like, what is that thing called? Love bombing or whatever. This wasn't like love bombing. This was just like, I'm normal bombing, right? I'm cool, chill guy bombing. And then you find out, no, you're not. No, you're not. You're a worm, dude. I know, I'm sorry, you guys. This is how, if you're in the group chat, this is what it sounds like. So I do feel like, you left. Of course you did. You're amazing. You're beautiful. You're like what people are looking for, right? But worm, no. That's not going to cut it. So we have, you're in your head a lot. You are in your head a lot. I don't think that you are very trusting of the romances. Even if you're still in a relationship, I feel like it just has been kind of, a place where, not that you're avoiding it or you don't prioritize it, but I don't think that you put all of your eggs in that basket anymore. Right? And we do that a lot when we're young, don't we? That's like the thing. When I find my person, it's going to open up everything. I'm going to, conquer the world as long as I have somebody that I love beside me. Like, yeah, that's cool, but like, that's not peak. It's not peak. Like, obtainable, I don't even know anymore. Yeah, maybe for some people, but it's not sustainable. That's the deal. Because listen, we all get older, crotchetier, not as flyer, not as productive sometimes, it just like, you know what I mean? So you have to have other things. We all do. If we stay in that relationship or not, we have to have other things for ourselves. And, that's just the reality of it. And so, I think that for you, it has been so much about getting things right within yourself, right? It's like, how can we have not even just romantic relationships? How can we be out here living the life that we really want, but we're not the person that we want to be? Right? Like, have you ever gotten to a place where it's like, I got what I want, but I am like, I've neglected myself in the process to get there. And so now I'm like showing up ragged, unbalanced, nervous system fully dysregulated, life in turmoil because I didn't prioritize like balancing things. Relationships falling apart. But hey, I got that money, I did the goal, and that's just part of life. Sometimes we do that and you learn. Like, maybe I overestimated the value of this thing that I was like killing myself for. And, not taking care of the things in my life and the people in my life that I should have been. And I get there, and then it doesn't mean that much because nobody's there to celebrate. You don't have the energy to celebrate, everything else is you need to quickly attend to. So I feel like for you, this period of time has been about relearning how to balance all that stuff, right? How to really truly synthesize your life in such a way that it doesn't feel like you're drowning all the time. It doesn't feel like you have to turn off your emotions, your mind. You have to numb out. You have to detach. You have to, just clench your fists in your jaw and, just suffer through it. Get it done. Lock in. And then next thing you know, you've been locked in for 10 years. You don't even know what it's like to relax. Who wants to live like that? I don't. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I wake up, I say, ooh, girl, what have you been doing? Your hair's starting to fall out. You've been so stressed out, And why? We're all going to the same thing. We're all headed in the same direction. Why? Why am I doing this? Why am I living this way? And then you get that sword going, you get that sword in her, you start figuring it out. You start making plans. You start knowing what you need to do for yourself. Because we all know. We all know. We need help sometimes figuring out how you make that happen. How do I get started? I need some ideas, like techniques, different ways, alternative ways to do things. But once I get that locked in too, we're on the way to Flavor Town, baby. And sometimes we just need to remember that. We need to remember ourselves. We need to remember what we're doing and where we're going and how we're doing it and all that stuff. Become present in the moment. Okay, so it looks to me like somebody has lost something. Look at these people. They're all looking down. Like this one's like bent up. What is that? Is that what I'm looking for? Nope. Keep looking. So somebody lost something. I think you're helping them find it, or maybe you lost it and, you're just searching high and low. The good news is I feel like it does get found. It does get found. Now, we have somebody with a J name. And there's something about sweeping or cleaning. I wonder if you are going to help somebody clean or if they're coming to help you clean. But it does feel to me like there's a sense of needing to kind of declutter some aspects of your life. And I think that's in the physical, actually. Now this is interesting. So we have the base of a flower here with the leaves, stem leaves. Now up here we have the tulip that looks like it's been plucked. And to me, this it speaks to me about a conversation I had with my daughter yesterday. We were talking about some beautiful mums that we saw. I'm a huge fan of mums. And she wanted to pick one. She said, "It's so beautiful, Mom. Can I pick it?" And I said, "Honey, I want you to remember this about life. This is something that is a core consideration for me, no matter what I'm doing. If we love something, we don't pick it because it's beautiful, because we grew it, we covet it, we want to, devour it, really. I mean, I think that's the drive, is to take it into self. But if we really love something, we let it grow. If we think something is special, we don't want to go and pull it out and hold it and do what we want to do with it. No, we water it. We pull the weeds away from it. We make sure that it's getting enough sunlight. We foster it because it is beloved unto us. And so I feel like this is one of the core lessons that you are looking at right now in life. And I feel like this is very much, it could span like anything to do with life. But I really feel like this is very much about yourself. And that's the big thing here, is that you're doing a lot. You're busy. You have a lot going on. But you are very, very aware of your healing, of your evolving, of your self-work. And I think that is it. That is the theme, blessing, energy of this next cycle. Really feeding yourself, building yourself up, and being careful with yourself. Don't go picking, right? Don't get to a point, you say, yeah, I really did it, and then you just fully cut yourself off. You know, stay the course. Stay the course. All right, let's do our lucky numbers real quick, and then we're going to get out of here. Ooh. Number 89 for the first one. 89. Number 18. And number 38. Got a lot of 8s today. 8 is my lucky number for sure. So, Libra, I love you. Thank you for being here. Let's see. If you want to like, subscribe, or leave a comment, I would love to hear from you. Other than that, I'm just going to say good night. We'll talk in a few days.